If I could have your attention, please, I'd like to call to order the Wednesday, October 22nd, 2014 council meeting to order at approximately 6:09 p.m. This evening we'll have Pastor Travis Johnson from Life Point Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, Councilwoman Waldman, and Police Explorers. Could you all please stand? Turn it on.
How's that? I'd like to say thank you to the mayor and the city council, to the city staff, and to the residents for the opportunity to pray. If we could bow our heads right now, I'd like to pray three things I'm asking the Lord for tonight. Big prayers, that we would find favor in the sight of the Lord, that we would know Him, and that we would grow in our love for one another. Let's pray. Lord, thank you for your good grace. Thank you for Jesus. Thank you for loving us enough that you would step out of all of your privilege and into our neighborhood, and you would speak our language, eat our food, and love us. Lord, thank you for the really incredible people that you place around us, that live in our neighborhoods, that we go to school with, that we work with, that we do life with. Over the years, we've had occasion to be ministers to one another and to be ministered to by one another. I thank you for the heart of Homestead that has really embodied that through a number of difficulties. And thank you, Lord, that you've even brought us out just through the tenacity of some amazing people, and also your grace and your provision. Lord, thank you that we survived Andrew, the 90s, and that you blessed us and favored us in the early 2000s, and we've come through some housing stuff. And thank you, Lord, that I believe that you have some good stuff in store for us. I pray you continue to bless this city. I know you love this city because it contains a lot of really great people that were created in your image. And so, Lord, I pray that according to Moses' prayer found in Exodus 33, verse 13, his prayer was, and I echo it today, "Now therefore, if I have found favor in your sight, please show me now your ways, that I may know you in order to find favor in your sight." Lord, let us know you, and I pray that you would bless us. And then as Paul prayed in Philippians chapter 1, verse 9 through 11, he said, "And it is my prayer that your love may abound more and more with knowledge and all discernment, so that you may approve what is excellent, and so be pure and blameless for the day of Christ, filled with the fruit of righteousness that comes through Jesus Christ, to the glory and praise of God." Father, give us wisdom, give us love for one another, and I pray you would continue to bless our city. And we ask this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Please join me as we give praise to our great nation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic.
Thank you. You may be seated. Pastor Johnson, thank you for that wonderful prayer. And the Police Explorers, Ms. Waldman, thank you for the pledge. Tab 1 is a proclamation to Mayor Ed McDougall, but he was unable to attend tonight, so we'll have another opportunity to present Mayor McDougall his proclamation and thank him for all his great work he's done in our sister city, Cutler Bay. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Burgess. Here. Councilman Maldonado.
Here.
Councilwoman Fairclough.
Here.
Councilwoman Woolman.
Here.
Vice Mayor Shelley.
Here.
Mayor Porter.
Here. At this time, tab 3, or item 3 is public comments. Anyone would like to say anything, step to the microphone and name and address for the record.
I'm Clara Waterman, 745 Southeast 18th Lane. I'm here to represent my husband, who happens to be with his family in Texas. I would like to read the following. I, Ed Powell, want to thank the mayor for renominating me to the Planning and Zoning Board. I consider it an honor and a duty to serve and to protect the evolution, safety, and welfare of the city. Having been on planning and zoning for 9+ years, my insight will help the city move forward. We have seen the boom and the bust. We are on a path to revival with many areas under construction. Let's make our city a standard for others to follow. I look forward to dedicated members on the board, ones who pick up documents, read them in advance, and voice their concerns. I want opinions that will help the process. Again, thank you for the nomination. I look forward to serving. Chair, Planning and Zoning, Edward Powell, current. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Hey, everybody. You guys are like old friends. It's been a while since I've been here. Good evening, everyone. Mayor Porter, Vice Mayor Shelley, Council. I'm Barbara from This Is a Dog, wearing the flashy blue new shirt for our event that's coming up this Friday. But let me start first with thank yous. Thank you to Vice Mayor Shelley for his recent donation, and to all of the council for your continued support for This Is the Dog, and to Mayor Porter for everything that you've done in supporting our efforts for the community. And to Councilman Burgess for the puppy sale ordinance. Paused across that everything goes well at the end of this meeting, so we can get that going and move forward with no puppy stores in Homestead. So thank you all for that. Second, I would like to make a great announcement. We had a golf tournament back in May, and we raised some funds that were strictly saved for spay-neuter for the entire community. We still have those funds available. So anybody in the audience, anybody out there that needs their dog or cat spay-neutered, we are donating back to the community to get that done. It won't cost you a dime unless you want to donate a little bit back to us, which will help the money go further. So 2 weeks ago, we hit 100 dogs, and we're really proud of that number. So 100 dogs will not be having more unwanted puppies in our community that will be born mostly to die, since they're unwanted. Third, our Yappy Hour event is this Friday. Does anybody know about our Yappy Hour event out there? That's 2 people? Holy cow, okay. How about up here? Everybody should raise their hands. Okay. It's this Friday out at the Keysgate Golf and Country Club, Banyan Tree Banquet Hall. And it's a dog event. You can bring your dog, but it's one of our biggest fundraisers of the year, and we're going to raise money to help do more spay-neuter and get help for the community to help keep their dogs in their homes so they're not running stray. This Is a Dog is a 501c3 nonprofit group, and every dime, every penny that's donated goes to help the community with their animals, specifically spay-neuter. We need to stop all these puppies from being born, and kittens. So, again, thank you, Council. Our theme is Be a Hero, and that honors ordinary people doing extraordinary things. You can come in costume, you can come as yourself. If you're a teacher, you're a hero. If you're the mayor, you're a hero. If you're on council, if you're a secretary, you're a hero. Whatever you do, just like Chuck said before, do something for the community, give back. There's my signal to leave. So let's see a show of hands who's coming to Yappy Hour.
What time?
Thank you. 6:30 starts to 9:30, and that's at the Keysgate off Palm Drive Golf and Country Club.
Entry? How much entry cost?
$5 per person, $10 for family. Again, every dime goes straight to help the dogs in the community. There's no puzzle about that. So if you have a dog, bring your dog. We'll be selling these cool shirts, Captain Paw. Okay. Thanks so much.
Thank you. We'll see you
I hope
Friday.
to see you all Friday.
Friday.
You need to eat more protein.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Crystal Ruiz, and I am your reigning Miss Homestead. 22% of our nation's population are students under the age of 18 who are currently living in poverty. Some of those students are here in our own backyard in Homestead. After finding this out, I wanted to do anything in my own ability to help this number shrink a little bit. So in 2009, with partnering with Neat Stuff, I have created Crystal's Care Packages. From donations and fundraising, I have been able to distribute about 200 brand new school uniforms. It's a week's supply of brand new school uniforms, all in a brand new backpack, and I've been able to raise about $11,500. Now, I am here today to ask for your help. Unfortunately, next fall, I will be moving to Orlando and going to be attending the University of Central Florida. I would absolutely love to receive more donations, so by Thanksgiving, I can be able to give new school uniforms to more students here in Homestead. This may be my last distribution, so I would absolutely love for this continued support from the community to give back to our students to help them know that they are tomorrow's future, and they are very, very well loved here in the community, and help them further their education and feel more confident in their new schools. Thank you.
Thank you.
To the mayor,
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Faircloth has a question?
just a comment. Just Crystal, thank you for the work that you're doing in our community to ensure that our students can go to school with dignity, I will continue to support you as I have in the past, and I will commission the support of the Mayorship Council to get behind you in this project. Thank you for the work that you do.
Thank you so much. And anyone who would like further information, I did leave some flyers in the table right over there. Thank you.
Ms. Garza.
Good evening, Maria Garza, 101 Northeast 19th Street, Homestead. Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council, Mr. Manager, good evening. And I come before you to invite you to two very special events that are going to take place in our community. One, this Saturday, October the 25th, at South Bay Labor Camp, which is located on the corner of Southwest 312 and 137th Avenue. We're hosting a health fair, Healthy Families, Happy Lives. This is in collaboration with Miami-Dade College, with Miami-Dade County, with the Farm Worker Jobs and Education Program, with Baptist Health System, Homestead Baptist, and the Mexican American Council. So I'm extending an invitation to you, especially around 12 o'clock. We're going to have a very brief ceremony. We expect between 200 and 200 attendees. We're gearing and specifically targeting the farm worker population. At this point, we have about 15 different stations where individuals are going to come and receive health screening of various sorts. We're very excited. We have a lot of prizes as well that we're going to give to the attendees. This is going to be on a raffle type of a system. They must attend and be screened in at least 10 of the different stations in order to qualify for the various prizes. And the prizes vary. We have several bicycles, and we have juicers and things that encourage them to continue on to their healthy living. So we'll be very honored to have any and all of you to join us Saturday, 12 o'clock. I'm going to leave the cards here so that for your information, and we also just took the liberty to expand the invitation to the public, so we'll be very honored if any of you can join us and also pass the word out. The second one that I want to share with you is, Judy, I want to thank you for recognizing always people from the community, and I know each and every one of you members from the council do that. Recognizing Eliza Perry brought special memories to my heart, and I'm so glad that you did that. Every time any of you take a decision, as you have to serve the public to become a public servant. That's a huge leap of faith that you take. You put your families aside, you put your reputations on the line, and sometimes we, the public, are not kind. So thank you for recognizing Eliza. I know that she did a lot of wonderful things, and oftentimes what I remember is those little gestures that go unnoticed in the public. But one that was very noticeable for me, when we were we were doing the cutting ribbon ceremony for the Speedway, Eliza saw Eddie, my son, that was hanging in there as always doing stuff. She pulled out a little card. I don't know where she got it from. I guess it was a memento that the city was giving out, but it wasn't intended for children. But she noticed Eddie, and she gave it to him. And you know, I don't know if Eliza's son is gone, but to this day, we have that card. It meant so much, that special gesture. There was nothing on the big thing, but it was very special for us, for Sip and I, and certainly for our family. So I thank you for recognizing that. God bless Eliza, and I thank you for doing those special little gestures that often go unnoticed, but go noticed by the right people. On to another very brief announcement that I have, and actually it's an announcement that fills me with pride. And this is that the Mexican American Council is vying for, competing for, one of 6 organizations competing for a People's Choice competition and vote. And this is to bring a mariachi academy to Homestead. Never has this happened before, certainly east of the Mississippi that we know of, east of the Mississippi River. So we're thrilled and excited that the Night Arts Foundation has selected us, the Mexican American Council, as one of the top 6 finalists. Each one of these other organizations have their own special organization and the things that they do. Some are the performing arts, some do painting, you know, and they do a whole bunch of other things. In our case, SIP's idea has been something for about 20 years to bring a mariachi academy, a music academy to Homestead, and especially to the migrant farm worker children. We know that music is linked to math, science, and we feel that this connection is very important, and this will also enhance our children's ability to compete better academically. So we're thrilled. Now, this competition is only for 1 month, so we're seeking all the citizens of Homestead, with the permission of the mayor and the council and your support as well, for this vote. It's a free vote, and it's only done by text, and it can only be done per one phone. So it's not like we can vote multiple times from one phone. One phone, one vote. And you have to dial 22333. I just say dial, the old-fashioned way dial. Now it's whatever you input on the cell phones, 22333, and then you write the information, vote 6. We are the 6th organization. So you write the whole thing, VOTE 6, then you send. You will receive confirmation from the Night Arts Foundation assuring you that your information will not be shared or spammed. So please understand, feel assured, but rest assured that we trust and we value you supporting us, and the Night Art Foundation will not share the information, and neither will us, the Mexican American Council. So if I can pass this and ask everyone to please vote for us. This competition is open from October the 20th through November the 7th. So we're going to do a mariachi mob, flash mob. So get ready, because when we ask you to invite you, we hope you to come. And we're going to do another free tackle for text. So we hope you come. And Councilwoman Judy, I want you to know that your donation is the first one in helping us achieve the matching for that, because we need to match the dollars. This competition is for $20,000. The big grant is for $120,000. So October 1, we're starting the raising funds for the matching. So thank you so much. We appreciate always what you do for us. And to all of you, Mayor and Vice Mayor, members of the council, Elvis, Patricia, Shelley, and John, thank you all so much. We appreciate it. And please vote for us. Again, 22333, and you vote 6, and the Mexican American Council will get to inaugurate the first ever Mariachi Academy in the city of Homestead. Thank you so much.
Maria, Mayor. Maria, I'm sorry. We have these new contraptions. I forget to push the button, but can we put this on our Facebooks? Would that be okay if we do that? And Kate, could we put it on the city website? And I'm committed. I'm not very good in a flash mob, but I'm committed. And I don't know if you
Bring
saw.
trumpets and something. I can tell you, this is really exciting. So thank you so much for doing this, Judy, and
No
for allowing.
problem.
Hope everybody post it on their Facebook. The Mexican American Council also has a Facebook page. Please come in, like us, do what usually happens with this social media, and pass the word out.
And can this be from any area, or does it have to be contained to
No,
Homestead
it's
area?
national, and we have an international number as well.
Okay.
So folks from other countries can vote, and it's a free vote. Even the ones that are calling from long distance, that's done via phone, but it's no cost to them. It's a toll-free number.
Well, we'll get it in the Village Voice. It goes out in a couple of days, so we'll get that out, and we'll ask all the residents in the villages to vote. And I would suggest contacting our county commissioners and getting it on their websites and their Facebook pages, because 30 days is not that long. But I'm committed to that. You missed the dance. Oh my gosh, it was a great folk dance that Councilman Maldonado put together, and now I'm not going to promise I can do that, but I will help. Thank you.
As long as they wear a mariachi song, no, a mariachi hat. But we're thrilled. We can hardly wait for the mariachi children to come and perform before these days or any other, city councils across the nation and certainly across the state. So thank you so much.
Well, Mayor, if it's okay, well, is that 30 days, the next council meeting? Is that enough time? And so it's the date of the next council meeting. Madam Clerk, do you know? I think we're past the deadline.
November 19th, Councilwoman.
Well, I would like to invite you as one of my presentations to do just that, if you'd like to do that.
Thank you. So it's
I
open.
don't know if it's within the time frame, but.
It's still okay.
Oh,
So
and-
it's open 24 hours. Just vote.
And Steve, could we maybe do it on the radio to get people out to vote? You need to talk to Mr. Steve over there. He's got a hot radio show on Friday nights.
Excellent.
Okay? All right, thank
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kmitry.
Hey, y'all. I put on my hat and my cowboy boots to come and talk to you all about our Western Bonanza. I'm so excited. This is our second annual fundraiser for We Care of South Dade. I'm Kmitry Driver, the Executive Director, and on November 7th, we're putting the fun back in fundraisers. So we invite you all out to come. We're going to have a mechanical bull riding contest, and last year we had one, and our wonderful Councilman Maldonado, hopefully this year he can redeem himself. He comes back. We have some wonderful pictures of him on the bull and off the bull, but we had a great time, so we thank him for his support last year. And also, Patricia, you're awesome. She committed last year and this year to help us out with the event and to support us. And Councilman Shelley gave us a wonderful picture last year for our silent auction. We're doing a silent auction again this year. We have some wonderful sports memorabilia. Some jewelry, so ladies, we got some unique jewelry pieces that are coming, and a bunch of other things are going to be auctioned. Anyone that needs a vacation, we have a cabin, a 3-day, 2-night stay cabin in Tennessee. However, it's a beautiful cabin. It would definitely be worth the trip, and if you go in the winter or early spring, it's absolutely gorgeous. So that's going to be part of the silent auction, and a few other things. So in addition to the mechanical bull riding contest, we'll have a best dressed contest. We will also do some line dancing, so Judy, hopefully you can come out and get your heels up. And then also, we're going to feed you, of course. We got to have food. And we're just going to have a great time. It's designed to be fun, something different for our area, and we're really enthusiastic about it. The support that we raise will help We Care to continue to teach low-income children how to read and lead healthy lifestyles, help us to connect individuals that are in crisis with their needed resources. Also help us to provide training and networking for our local nonprofit community, convene community-based organizations to address our needs, our unique needs here in South Dade, and then also provide emergency energy assistance to Homestead residents, and that's actually through a partnership with the City of Homestead and our HELP program. So the funds that we raise go towards helping us to continue to do the things that we do in this community to try to build a healthy lifestyle for our residents and our families, and just make this place an even better, wonderful city to live in. So we invite you guys to come out. It's November 7th at 7 p.m. It's at the Cifuentes Farms, and how can I forget, we're going to have a live horse show. So anyone that's familiar with the Cifuente family, and there are horse shows, we come out, they're going to do a free performance for us that night. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be held at their ranch in the Redlands. They're one of our sponsors. Community Bank is our presenting sponsor, so we love them and thank them for their support. Also, Homestead Hospital is another sponsor, and Sunset Country and Western Store. So thank you so much for this time. Yes.
Ms. Faircloth wanted to say something before you left.
Oh, okay, yes, sir.
Ms. Faircloth?
I was trying to beat the buzzer.
You did.
Howdy, Kamisha.
Howdy.
Thank you for being here today, all in your uniform, decked out to promote this event. And I encourage all of my colleagues in the community to support Kamitra and We Care. And We Care holds like a little special place in my heart, because I like when nonprofit organizations, and what I like to say, they go outside of their own sandbox. And We Care truly cares, because they work collaboratively with all of the nonprofits in this community. They just don't focus on We Care, but they focus on the greater good in this community. So that's why I'm always behind you, Kamitra, cheering for you and We Care. And I encourage your community to come out on November 7th to support this worthy organization that just does tremendous things in this community. Thank you for all that you do, Kamitra.
Thank you. Thank you very
Mr.
much.
Maldonado?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I think I'm still recovering from that groin I pulled on riding that mechanical bull, and I probably would have won if they didn't have a professional rodeo person there, but hopefully he's not out there this time. We were able to raise some money. It was a great event, well attended. We had a blast. I took my daughters there. We had a great time, great food, and an opportunity to support a great organizations. I will be supporting your effort again, and as well as the Community Relations Board is always also going to help sponsor our tables. So count on us, and thank you for all that you do in this community. You do phenomenal things, and the folks really don't know, how many lives that you touch. And so we're honored to have you here, and we're grateful for all that you do. So count on me again.
Thank you. Thank you for those kind words and for your support. Appreciate you.
Ms. Waldman, Ms.
Yes,
Waldman?
yes, two things. And this is for Maria. Maria's still back there. And Kamitra as well. Next Tuesday, I'm the guest speaker, keynote speaker for the Mohair Crisis Luncheon. And I encourage you to give us some flyers, some little things, so that we can pass them around. Maria, I think you're coming. You don't know it yet, but I think you're going to be there. And Kamitra, I don't know, are you coming?
I have to go to a bidders conference for a grant, but my staff is going to be there.
Okay, so we need to put this stuff on all the tables so people will know. And also, Saturday night is our Halloween party for the city of Homestead. And Dennis, I think we could squeeze in a little card table or a table. And if you'd like to come Saturday night to our Halloween event, and we'll promote both events. I mean, we're going to have well over 1,000 people Saturday night. That's why I have bags under my eyes, because we've been working so hard. But, and your cowboy outfit's perfect, your little hat. So, Maria, we're going to dress you up, and you're going to dress me up. I'm going to dress you up. So, but I think that would be a really good way to promote both of the projects that you're doing. Okay?
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Sullivan.
Kevin Sullivan, 1860 Southeast 6th Court, Homestead. Mr. Mayor, 11 months ago, you told us that you were going to work on getting us at the interchange on Campbell Drive. I know you've worked on it. I've seen the plans from FDOT, but I'm absolutely puzzled why FDOT can't figure out that the land that they own, they can't put a northbound ramp off of Campbell. My opinion of FDOT, how they service us people down here, is if they got in a race with a snail, they would lose. Now, on to one more thing that's dear to my heart. A while ago, the sitting council did away with background checks for people that were serving on boards and commissions. I thought it was a mistake at that time. I said it was a mistake right here. And to this day, all you have to do is read what's going on, and it is a big mistake. So I'm asking you, Mayor, sit down with your council members and come up with a plan to make background checks once again in the city.
Ms. Wallman, did you hit it on purpose? Okay. Okay.
Oh, darn it. I hit it by accident, but Kevin, I just want to say that I couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't agree with you more. So, Mayor, I hope that you put that on the agenda soon. And sorry, my book did it.
That's all right. We'll do it. Mr. Burgess.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Sullivan, we have been working diligently with FDOT. Unfortunately, it's DOT and the Turnpike Authority that we have to fight with out there to get an on-ramp. But what we have been able to do, is to move it up 2 years in the process on both the plan and the build-out, are 2 years ahead of where they were 12 months ago. So while we haven't gotten it done and built within the 11 months, we have moved it up 2 years in total time of when the project is going to start. If I'm correct, it's a January type of design work or whatever the next technical step is, and then in early 16, the commencement of the build. So while we haven't gotten it done, we have not stopped banging our heads into the wall either, as we have looked at various ways to bring public-private partnerships down here or whatever it takes to get that done. So we are continuing the battle and trying. So I'll just give you a quick update as to where we are. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir. Is there any update different from staff other than what's just been spoken about? Okay. Okay, because I know that we've had numerous meetings, and at one point in time, there was a question as to funding, because I was briefed by FDOT that said there was no funding, and we had been briefed previously that it was funded. So, you know, we need to stay on top of that, which we are. So, okay. Right, at this time, I'm going to close the public hearing, the public comments, and we'll go to additions, deletions, and referrals. Mr. Attorney, Ms. Manager?
I do not have any deferrals if any of the council members do.
No. I'd like to ask for a deferral on item 10G1 from council. Is there any problem with the 10G1? Is there a second on the, you need a second? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so 10G1 has been removed.
10G1 is removed, deferred. Tab 2 is going to be the consent agenda.
It's actually tabs 2 through 16.
I'll move 2 through 16, Mayor.
2 through 16.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Quasi land use, public hearings. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm flying alone tonight without James, so.
I know. It's great.
Please be advised that the following items on the agenda are quasi-judicial in nature. If you wish to comment upon any of these items, please indicate the item number you'd like to address when the announcement regarding the quasi-judicial item is made. An opportunity for persons to speak on each item will be made available after the applicant and staff have made their presentations on each item. All testimony, including public testimony and evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation. Additionally, each person that gives testimony will be subject to cross-examination. If you do not wish to either be cross-examined or sworn, your testimony will be given its due weight. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request that counsel to ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. The full agenda packet on each item is hereby entered into the record. Persons representing organizations must present evidence of their authority to speak for the organization. Further details of the quasi-judicial procedures may be obtained from the clerk. In accordance with Section 2591, any lobbyist must register before addressing the council on any of the following items. At this time, council members must disclose any ex parte communications concerning any items on the quasi-judicial agenda. Seeing no disclosures, clerk, please swear in anyone who wants to testify on tab 17, 18, 19, or 20?
Would you please stand, raise your right hand, and repeat after me? I, please state your name, hereby swear or affirm that the information I present shall be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Thank you. You may be seated.
The first item, tab 17, is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, considering the request of FVP Homestead LLC for a rezoning of an approximately 9.8 acre parcel from general use G zoning district to the retail commercial business district B2 zoning district for property located at the northwest corner of Southwest 167th Avenue and Southwest 328th Street, as described in Exhibit A, and providing for an effective date. First reading.
Is there any report from staff, Mr. Cordino?
Yes, sir. We recommend the mayor and council approve this rezoning. The applicant is requesting the rezone of the 9.8 acre parcel from general use to B2 retail commercial district. The general use property is really considered an unclassified zoning district, a holding place, and necessarily to do something on it needs to be rezoned. The land use of the property is light commercial use. It's implemented by the B1, B2, and B3. And we do recommend approval. The Planning and Zoning Board heard this on September 10th and unanimously recommended for it.
Questions from council? Mr. Burgess?
Thank you, Mayor. I guess to Richard, or our city attorney, if I may, what keeps us from making this a B1 and not a B2? Is there anything that restricts us from putting that on there?
No. You're obligated to provide a zoning category that's consistent with the comprehensive plan, and I'm advised by Mr. Cordino that is B1, B2, or B3.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And if we were to allow B2, how can we work with the restrictions that I feel are necessary? Because I think that this city is in a position now where it needs first-class developments. We've given enough of this city away in the past to get things down here. And I think it's time that we as a council and we as a city expect and demand first-class projects. And I just want to make sure that's a very busy intersection there with a lot of homes around it, and I just want to restrict what's going to go there to make sure that it falls within the neighborhood guidelines of what I feel should be there.
Unfortunately, you're not permitted to condition a zoning approval. You do have the right on a purely voluntary basis to ask the applicant whether they be willing to limit the use of their property by a covenant running with the land.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor. I'll leave it at that.
Ms. Waldman?
Yes, I don't mean to put you on the spot, Richard, because James isn't here, but there's history to this property. And, Joe, I'm not sure if you have it all, if you're familiar with it, but I remember this coming up years ago, and again, I think even before I was on council. And I know at the time I was so concerned that they were going to take that corner and make it into another convenience store, which we already have two. Well, that's my neighborhood. That's my district. So we already have two convenience stores that we're dealing with on a regular basis with loitering and just all kinds of problems. So I'm very concerned about rezoning. It's, what is it, almost 10 acres, and I didn't see any P&Z minutes in the package. So I didn't have any history to go by as to what the comments were. I think Mr. Shelley might have even been from P&Z one of the times that it was brought forth to us, so maybe he might be able to have some recollection as to what went on. But I know that there was quite a bit of discussion, and I was very, very concerned. And I remember Mr. Porter was as well. So I think we need some more discussion.
If I could suggest that we give the applicant an opportunity to make his presentation from Holland and Knight, Mr. Arza.
Is that okay with council? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Attorney, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, members of the council. Hugo Arza, law offices at 701 Brickell Avenue, representing FVP Homestead LLC. Thank you for the opportunity to present before you this evening. As staff has indicated to you, we are making a very straightforward and very simple request to rezone the property to B2. The property's current future land use designation is commercial, light commercial use, and as Mr. Corradino stated, you could implement a number of zoning categories, including B1, B2, or B3. Obviously, those become more intense in use as you move up the numbers, B1, B2, and B3. To Councilman Burgess's question specifically, in terms of the uses and the limitation, one of the reasons we chose B2 was because we are not proffering at this time a site plan. Because of the size of this property, when this property is developed, it will have to come back to all of you as a site plan, and I think Mr. Corradino can confirm that for you. We're not proffering a site plan. My client bought this property approximately 2 years ago, so I think it was before, I think to Councilwoman Waldman, I think it was certainly not my client who bought it 2 years ago that had any plans or designs for this property whenever it was several years ago. So they came in, and you may ask, well, why are you simply seeking to rezone with no site plan? Well, there is a value to the property having the zoning classification in place, particularly when you're talking to a lot of regional and national tenants. Many of them, for their credit committees and the internal organizations to consider a site, they will ask the landowner, is the property zoned for our use? And they understand that there may still be a subsequent site plan process, but they'll ask the question, is it zoned for our use? And so my client turned to us and said, can we rezone this? And to allow ourselves some flexibility, while being respectful that B3 might be too expansive, let's choose B2, which allows for your traditional retail commercial uses, as well as some other uses that are more specific to B2. It could be, gas stations, it could be other things, but there's nothing on the drawing board now. There's no site plan. There's no specific business that's coming in at this point. And at whatever point those businesses and that site plan gets developed, it has to come back through your staff's review, through the Planning and Zoning Board, and through the City Council. So I gave a very similar explanation at the Planning and Zoning Board because I got very similar questions. Well, why B2 and why not B1 or why not B3 for that matter? And really, we want to retain the flexibility, and I would tell you right now that we would appreciate the ability to retain the flexibility of B2 zoning and allow us at a later date when there's a site plan that we have to come before you anyway to have the discussion about the particular uses, because right now it's just very difficult for us without a specific site plan in mind or without guaranteed uses or any tenants in mind to be able to commit and possibly exclude something that might be a benefit to this community. So we're sensitive to the needs of the community, and we want to be a good neighbor. And what we're asking for is a rezoning here that your staff is recommending and Planning and Zoning recommended to allow us some flexibility that when we come back with a site plan, you may all be able to ask the tough questions, and we can come before we even file that site plan and be talking to you and make sure that we hear from you what you're interested in. So thank you again, Mr. Attorney, for allowing us to just sort of explain that, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Burgess.
Thank you, Mayor. And your explanation is exactly what makes me nervous.
Okay.
Is because you're not here with a site plan tonight, and you may not be the landowner when that site plan comes before us.
Right.
And therefore, somebody's going to buy that land with expectations of something that I'm not for. And then that leads us all down a bad road somewhere at a future meeting, where there's a possible landowner or a business owner that comes in with a site plan, and that's exactly what I'm trying to head off. And he gets angry with the city or gets angry with me, and then we have the back and forth. So that's why I'm trying to stop it tonight, because if we can get a hold of it tonight, down the road 6, 8 months, or whenever, 2 months, a month, whenever the site plan comes before us with an option, we've got a grasp on it, and that's what I'm trying to do tonight. And your explanation explained exactly to me. There is no site plan, so I have nothing to go by tonight. If you guys had some intentions, then maybe I could give you B2, but right now I can't give it to you. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. Councilman Burgess kind of raised some of the concerns I had, and that is, my understanding, and City Attorney and City Planner, correct me if I'm wrong, once we give a zoning classification with a B1, B2, B3, as a matter of right, they're entitled to come and build anything within that zoning classification. So if we give you B2 tonight, and then you come back and build something with a site plan proposal that says, well, it's something we didn't intend or wouldn't prefer to be there, we have no right at that time legally to request otherwise. Now, the applicant may come through and decide to work with us at the city, but they don't have to. So this is our only time to somewhat control the types of uses that go in this area. And I do agree that it's primarily within a residential area. You have the villages to the south, you have another neighborhood to its west, and then you have another neighborhood to the east. So it's kind of built into a pocket of residential. So certain intensive uses wouldn't make a whole lot of sense there. The right product possibly, but again, we're talking hypotheticals here, so it makes it very difficult to vote on something and open up all of these options. The same thing, right now B1 and B2 they're just numbers to me. I don't know what those uses are specifically, so it would also be very helpful for me to see a whole list of B1 uses, a whole list of B2 uses like we've done in similar times, and go through and see is there too intensive things within the B2, and it's not something I'm going to do on the fly tonight, but it was something I definitely would want to see before I made a consideration to vote for or against it.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, one of the things we could do, it is not unheard of to condition, or you can't condition zoning, but it's not unheard of to have covenants that restrict certain uses in zoning districts. You've both spoken about the concern about certain types of uses, and Mr. Vice Mayor, you asked for, the list. What we could certainly do, and I'd be happy to do, is to take the time between first and second reading. This is first reading, so you will not all pass this tonight, even if you wanted to take the time between first and second reading for us to sit down and see if you can articulate. We can look at the list and see if we can agree. You're right. There may be uses that we can discard as a matter of course. We haven't been asked to do so. We weren't asked to do so by staff or by the Planning and Zoning Board. I want to be respectful. I'd be happy to sit down with staff and have you sit down with you, but that have you articulate through staff and come up, and if we can live or talk about it, we'd be happy to. And then that way at second reading, all of you can take up the consideration of the matter, but with the attached covenant that restricts the uses. I think your attorney will tell you that that's acceptable, and we'd be happy to sit down and discuss that. And if we can't reach an agreement between now and then, which I'm sure we can, obviously then at second reading, you would all still have your full complement of an ability to reject the application at that point, and we'd be back to square one. So I would maybe ask that we take this month to look at that list and see if we can come up with some categories that maybe are the most troubling to you and exclude those. And the same offer, of course, to Councilman Burgess.
I think what I'm hearing from the council is that you're concerned that some of the B2 uses are incompatible with the surrounding neighborhood, and that so. It's up to the council, but he's basically talking about what I was suggesting. That's a way to limit down. And if you want to, you can just say no. You can say no. You can somebody can move a B1 use. You have to give them some category within within the approved land use. Or you could pass this on first reading. Ask them to meet with staff, see if they're willing to limit the uses to what you would find acceptable within the B2 category, and then you could look at it when it comes back. We would do that in a covenant that runs with the land, but it's up to the council.
Correct. And that would be something I would be amenable to, because again, my goal here is not to stop progress. It's not to stop development within our city. But it is to make sure, like Councilman Burgess stated, to make sure we have quality development and we have the right type of development for the area in which we sit in. So, I think I'd be very amenable to any offers you guys might have as far as covenants of the land, any conditions you'd want to put on that. Would be something I'd be interested to hear, again, knowing that, potentially you may have some uses you want that I may not like, and vice versa, or the majority of the council, but I'd be willing to go through that exercise.
I trust we can reach, a compromise, and we can work with you and talk with you. And between now and I believe the 19th of November is the next hearing. We've got 4 weeks, and we'll do that, and we'll work with you if we can move forward tonight.
Ms. Waldman, and then Mr. Burgess.
Again, I find it unusual that you would come before us and ask for, the B2, when you are, I believe you said that you really don't have anything in mind right now. You're just seeking the zoning.
Right.
And why are there for sale signs on the property?
To be honest with you, I think the for sale signs are always up because,
Well,
it's just
it raises suspicion with me,
Right.
and that's why I was concerned before. I think it was 2006, 2005. I don't remember the date, but you don't just come and ask for something when, we're trying to get rid of the problem areas in the city. We're trying to get rid of, we had a discussion at the council meeting recently about wine and beer licenses and convenience stores.
I was here.
You were here?
I was here for that, yes.
Were you representing?
No, it was not my application. I was just here for the conversation.
Just checking.
Yeah.
But, there's a school across the street. I've lived there 28 years. I can tell you for certain that the 551 homes, or however many there are, it's 550, 551, that are in the villages of Homestead, they don't have a clue that you're going for the zoning. And, do they need to be notified, Joe?
Yes, they do. Well, we notify people for these changes within the 375 feet.
Yeah, we did have, I believe, 2 individuals attend planning and zoning, curiously enough,
Well, that was probably from Tennessee Estates. But you have, not only do you have the subdivision across, you have the pump station, you have another subdivision, you have a church, you have Tennessee Estates, you have the villages of Homestead, you have the Gateway Environmental School. So you have a very complex component there of people. And, I'm willing to talk to you. I'm willing to know, what your thoughts and plans are. But your owner needs to know why. I need to know why you want this B2. I need to know a reason. And I need to know what your plans are. The traffic studies alone are not, I can't even imagine that. Sometimes you have to set through 3 or 4 lights. And we still don't have a turning light, by the way, going towards 137th. But it's a nightmare.
Well, and all valid points, Councilwoman, and I would say the only, one of your first comments, and just to hit on that issue of if the property's sold or what have you, as your attorney has told you, any commitment that we make is a covenant that would run with the land. So you would be assured that even if my client sold the property, and I certainly can't tell you here today that they will or will not, we just don't have that crystal ball, but even if they do, the nature of the covenant is that it runs with the land, and any subsequent owner would have to live with whatever restrictions we place on the property during this process. And
I know, but when you're coming in here and you're asking for B2, then that certainly makes a great selling point for a piece of property if you get the B2 zoning without any limitations. So you have to be just so careful, because we're setting precedents right now, and so I'm anxious to hear the comments from our colleagues.
The other point, if I may, and I think it was Vice Mayor who said it, in terms of, once you grant this, you're, giving certain uses as of right. Perhaps, technically speaking, as of right, as far as the uses are concerned, but you do still have a site plan approval process, and I'm sure that your attorney can guide you and advise you on the discretion you can show during that process to ensure that the uses. So, and I'm not obviously taking off the table the commitment I've made to work with all of you in the next month, but there would be, again, a subsequent opportunity for this owner or any owner to have to come to you, because your code requires that any development above 5 acres come to the council to get that approval, that site plan approved. So there would be an additional opportunity, no matter what, when somebody actually develops this property, to take a look at the specific uses, and then to take into consideration a lot of those detailed issues of, well, how does this use fit with the neighbors who are right there abutting? Is the building too close? Is there some noxious fume that comes, those issues that we can't today because we don't have a site plan. There is an opportunity at a later date, and I've seen this council work on, approvals of site plans, and I know that all of you will make sure that that site plan that comes down the road will be the very best one for the city. So I just wanted to point out that there is certainly another opportunity for the city down the road, even after this process.
Mr. Burgess, sorry. Thank you, Mayor. To Mr. Cordino, with this, do we have any, obviously we don't know what his site would entail for a business, but do they bring any kind of numbers for us as a proposal with the traffic of what B2 would mean to that intersection over there, or does the staff have anything of what it would mean over there?
No, we don't look at that concurrency type of issues until somebody brings in a site plan and they choose a use out of the categories, the list of uses. So that's not something we do at this stage.
So we don't have any kind of preliminary number that
This
we
is
can...
simply rezoning and not
Right.
a proposal for development.
Okay, I didn't know. Mayor, I mean, to Mr. Orza, I would move, I will work with you if you want to come back and give it a try, because we do have another chance to vote no later
Yes, sir.
on next month. In good faith of moving things forward for both the city and for you and your client. I'm willing to reach out to you in the next couple of weeks and have a meeting and with myself and Mr. Cordino or one of his staff members and see if we can come to some kind of consensus of what I feel should go there, and perhaps the other people will reach out to you. And I'm sure Vice Mayor Shelley has stated he would. But I mean, I want to be, I want to be clear. I'm not for the general B2 category.
Understood.
So if there's nothing that can be worked out there, you think that there's some things that can be taken out, then we don't need to have the meeting. But
No, sir. I'm sure, and I look forward to meeting with you, with all of you, and I am sure that when we sit down and discuss it, we'll be able to work out.
Because we do have another shot at this, that's, I will, and for you and your client and for the city, because businesses are good for the city also, I will have a meeting with you and we'll take a shot at it and see what kind of solution we can come up with for myself, not speaking for anybody else.
Understood. Thank you. We appreciate
Thank
the
you.
offer.
Vice Mayor?
Just one quick clarification. I think when I was on P&Z, we had some of these come before us as far as from a general use to some other use. And my understanding, what I remembered is that they are entitled to some use, because you can't stay G. So we can't deny it outright and say, that's it, you're stuck with the G. We are going to have to, if they don't have the restrictions that we like under a B2, I assume we have to, at a minimum, give them a B1 going forward. Is that where our options are going to lie as we move
Yes, sir.
forward with this?
You have to supply them a zoning category that implements your comp plan land use designation. And so, yeah, you have to give them something. It can't stay at G. It's got to be rezoned.
So that's just, I guess, just to set the tone for the future discussions, is that even if we say no to the B2, or maybe we don't find a compromise, that it's not an outright denial, we'll have to come back and give them at least a B1 at a minimum.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Joe, the vacant, what I guess appears to be a 10-acre piece to the west, what's the land use, future land use on that? What's the intent on that piece of property?
You want me to answer that because my client owns it too?
You could. I got it right here. You take a shot.
Go ahead, Joe.
The one to the west is also Zone G, right? So it will have to come in.
Correct.
It will
Yes.
also have to go through the same process.
I guess the intent is, you're talking about if that's coming in as commercial as well.
No, sir. That's actually a medium-density residential parcel. That is not a commercial parcel.
That's right. That's land use medium density residential, but it's got a G zoning designation, so it'll have to be re-land use. And let me find out what the categories are. Going to be the residential categories of R2, R3, and RTH, which is a residential townhome district. So it'll be essentially a medium-density residential type of use that would go next door to that.
Units per acre would be up to what?
No more than 10.
No more
Less
than
than 10.
Okay. Let me open up the public hearing at this time. Anyone would like to speak for or against this application for B2, subject to the conversation that I think the majority of council is leaning towards maybe passing first reading and subject to some negotiations. So, see no one, so I'll close the public hearing. Any final questions or comments? Mr. Maldonado?
Thank you, Mayor. Joe?
Yes, sir.
Could you give us the zoning over at the corner where the Walgreens is, and also where Lowe's is, which are the kind of corners that are commercial, and that area, when you get it, it doesn't have to be right now, just as we move forward and we're going to be meeting with Hugo, I'd like to have that information, so at least we know what's there.
Right, the southeast of that, I think that's the Lowe's, right?
Right.
And that's a B2 zoning, and the other one you mentioned was...
The Walgreens on the...
The Walgreens is the south of that, and that's part of, I believe, a PUD and the plan unit development.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any final comments? Is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll move it, sir.
Is there a second?
A second.
Any final comments? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Burgess,
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fairclough,
Yes.
Councilwoman Woolman,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley,
Yes.
Mayor Porter.
Yes.
The motion carries.
See a second reading.
Thank you very much, and I'll see you all before then.
Thank you. Tab 18.
Next item is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting a waiver of plat to, I don't want to mispronounce his name, B-H-A-R.
Barabee.
Pardon?
Barabee?
Inc., for the division of property totaling approximately 40,835 square feet, parcel located at 841 North Chrome Avenue, legally described in Exhibit A and providing an effective date. The first reading.
Mr. Cordino?
Yes, sir. We recommend that you approve this waiver of plat as it is consistent with the criteria set forth in our comprehensive plan for the waiver of plat designations. This has been a process we've worked through with the applicant. At this point in time, everything conforms to the city code. It's largely a ministerial act relative to a plat just setting the property lines. So again, we recommend approval. I believe the applicant is here. He may want to say a few words.
Any questions from council? Vice Mayor?
Yeah, what's the purpose of what they're doing this for? They want to divide the property up so they have two parcels instead of just the one?
Yes.
And is there a reason for them? I mean, do they have a justification for that? Are they looking to sell it off? Are they looking, do we have any more clarification on those issues?
I'll let Mr. Patel speak to his reasons for that.
And I just would add that even though you certainly can ask the questions, once, this is a waiver of plat, there's certain requirements in our code that they've complied with. Once they've complied, it's really a ministerial act. I've tried for years to even get this off your agenda because it puts you in an uncomfortable spot. But basically, the law is that once they meet the criteria, you have to grant them their waiver of plat. You can ask the questions and listen to the answers, but
Yeah, this is more informational than anything else, just curious.
Yes, sir, Mr. Patel. Go ahead. There's a button on the bottom of the mic there.
No.
Did it turn green?
Yeah, it's green. No.
Put your name and address for the record, please.
Rashmikant C. Patel, 841 North Chrome Avenue, Homestead.
Vice Mayor.
Well, in 2002, I was going to demolish the historic, right now, which is a historic house, Dr. James Archer Smith building. And I went to the building department, and I think Tom Lapper, he told me to go see Historic Preservation Board. And at that time, Historic Preservation Board told me, please save this house, and they will help, whatever help I will need, I had two business on that property, and still is two business right now. One is a motel, and another is a bar. At that time, I did not want to run the bar, and it was a economical burden for me. And so that's the reason I decided that.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from council? This is a public hearing. Anyone would like to ask questions or speak on behalf, for or against? Ms. Wallman?
I'm still just a little confused because the one house is a historic property, correct? Correct?
Yeah. The house and the bar is a historic landmark.
The house and the bar?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So are you planning on doing anything different?
No, it'll be same.
You said you don't want to operate the bar anymore? Is that what you said?
Well, I'm leasing the bar.
You're
Because I was denied the demolition permit. I was forced to lease the bar and continue to operate.
Are you saying lease the bar or lose the bar?
Lease, renting the bar.
Lease the bar, okay. Okay, so the attorney is saying that basically if they do they do the walk, we are, okay, thank you.
Okay, so this is a public hearing. See no one would like to speak for or against, so I'll close the public hearing. Any final comments from council? Is there a motion? Moved, is properly seconded?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Did you get that, Madam Clerk? Roll call?
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fairclough?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallman?
Yes.
Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
Mayor Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Tab 19.
Resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting final plat approval for Country Gardens located at 137 Avenue between Northeast 16th Street and 22nd Street, as legally described in Exhibit A, consisting of approximately 18.69 acres, providing an effective date.
Mr. Cordino?
Sorry. Yes, sir. We recommend approval of this final plat for Country Gardens. This is a 100-unit, single-family residential development located on about 18.5 acres of land west of 137th Avenue. The plat's consistent with our code criteria like we just discussed in the last application. The site plan on this was approved back in 2006, so it's got all of its development entitlements. This is the final step in the process. The development is under construction right now, and there have been some issues with construction, working on that with the applicant and the constructor, but that's not a platting or planning issue. That's a construction issue. Really doesn't have anything to do with this application. So again, we're recommending approval of this.
Did that issue get straightened out regardless of the plat approval?
Yeah, we're working. They've got a number of issues that we're working on relative to where the fence go, who does the maintenance, questions about drainage, where they keep their construction equipment. So we're working through that. Any rules that we have based on construction are going to be identified and upheld. So we've guaranteed the neighbors that.
Questions from council? None? This is a public hearing. Mr. Orza, would you like to speak? I'm sorry.
Once again, Hugo Arza, Law Offices at 701 Brickell Avenue, representing the property owner, D.R. Horton. I'm joined today by Sharon Sino of D.R. Horton. Thank you to staff for the recommendation of approval. The final plat, we've obviously worked through all of the technical requirements, not just that the city, but that the county have imposed of all subdivisions, and we've met all of those. To the issue, since it's going to come up, and I'm sure that there are a couple of folks, and we almost just missed the hearing because we were outside chatting with the neighbors from Waterstone, from the community to the south, and their attorneys who are here this evening to discuss with them and coordinate any of those construction management issues. I mean, they've just identified that, because construction work is going on, sometimes there's some dirt that's coming over. They've asked us to put on a green fence, I think it is, a construction fence. We've obviously pledged that we'll work with them. I mean, these are construction management issues that, D.R. Horton will be more than happy to. In fact, these questions were asked of us a couple of weeks ago, and on October 9th, we provided Sal Anisi, the building official of the city, with a series of answers to the questions as to, the concerns that the community had, and we had not heard, certainly from the city or Sal since then, that there were any other concerns. But again, the neighbors are here. We've spoken with them again, and we'll continue to work with them. Construction can sometimes be a little bit of a difficult process, but we are pledging to be good neighbors, and we're here. And Ms. Sino has already exchanged business cards, and we'll continue to be in touch with them and make sure that we are good neighbors as we develop the community.
Mr. Burgess.
Thank you, Mayor. To Mr. Cordino, this just reiterates what we brought up at the committee of the whole last week, that when there's construction going on and there's neighbors next door, we need to make sure that there's a meeting beforehand so that everybody can get on the same page. And I know that we're going to implement it in the near future, but I just wanted to reiterate that this is one of the things, if we had these type of neighborhood meetings between the contractors and the construction company and the neighbors, we shouldn't be here tonight having these issues being spoken about. So I just wanted to reiterate that, why we still had it fresh on everybody's mind. Thank you.
Okay, this is a public hearing. If anyone would like to speak for or against, you're welcome to come to the microphone this time. Put your name and address for the record, please.
Eric Garcia, Matthew Estevez, PA, 701 Brickell Avenue, Suite 1650. I'm here on behalf of the neighborhood to the south, the Grove at Waterstone. As Hugo mentioned, that we do have some concerns, primarily with the conditions during construction. There are some things that we've requested, and we will be working with them, but primarily it's debris blowing over from the construction site, site workers parking along the property lines of the people who live at the Grove at Waterstone, and the storage of the equipment and the machinery is being stored along the property fence, at the property line, excuse me, and also the maintenance of the growth and the weeds and the vegetation along that property line, which we will be working with them to address those. But the one thing that that the community has an issue with is the division between the communities, and we can't seem to get a solid answer. It seems, though, my understanding is that we're going to have a fence against another fence, flush against each other, with no buffer zone in between. So the concerns of the community are that there will be vegetation growing in between those fences. No matter how close you put them together, there's no way to, do away with that in-between growth. And we ask that the city, help us implement either one fence or some sort of buffer zone between the two properties, between the two fences. And that's all that we ask for. And that during construction, that the city please maintain a watchful eye and ensure that the property that's being developed meets the code and follows all the rules that are in play.
Are you aware of this, Mr. Cordino?
Yeah, yes, sir. We were out at the site with the neighbors the other night, on Monday night, walked the property. We've toured the site multiple times. We have an issue where you have, it's not an uncommon issue where you have the back of one development and the back of the other, and there will be fences. They will abut each other. The condition exists actually right now with the existing development. There's the development's fence, which is chain link fence, and many of the neighbors also have a wooden fence backed up there. No matter however close you get them, there is a gap of sometimes inches and sometimes feet between the two fences. We believe our intention is both fences are going to be on the property line, and we'll have to study that and work through how people. Essentially, the rules are that they maintain the vegetation on their own property, and that's essentially what they're going to have to do. And I'm not sure how we would deal with the gap between the fence. I'd have to study that a little bit more closely.
Okay, now this is a final. This will not come back to this board.
No, this won't come back. This is just the plat. This is really just looking at where the property lines are. The construction is ongoing. The site plan's been approved back in 2006, so that's really not debatable at this point in time. So these are construction issues that we're going to have to work with them through.
How long is it anticipated for this to be a construction site?
I'm going to defer to the applicant on that. They've just filled the land right now, so it's got the infrastructure in the ground, water, and I guess the sewer lines and drainage, and it's got the rock fill, and not put in any houses yet. So, Hugo, what do you think?
Yeah.
Timeline?
I just checked with Messino, and it's probably about 18 months. I mean, there's still obviously site work to be done, and then you've got to do all of the horizontal first and then all the vertical construction. So we'll probably have 18 months, but they're out there and they've commenced. I mean, this is not a speculative project by any stretch. I mean, D.R. Horton is out there and putting it to work so that they get started. So, and certainly not at all points during those 18 months will the intensity be the same. The horizontal work, the site work, is the dirt, but once the roads are laid in and the building pads are laid in and what have you, then it starts to be vertical construction, which is, obviously doesn't have as much dust or anything like that. But the entire process is probably about 18 months is what I'm being told.
Okay. Mr. Maldonado, then Mr. Burgess.
Thank you, Mayor. To the city attorney, and maybe you as well, Joe, how do we help, I guess the question is, how do we help this community combat this problem? And I'm aware of this problem because when I was president of my HOA, which is Malibu Bay, we had a community development district, which those dollars, we had dollars to battle and to take care of the perimeter where the fences are. And so there's a funding there that comes through a special taxing district that helps us resolve that issue. But I believe this community does not have that. And so, and even moving forward, this is going to continue to happen. How do we solve this problem in between those two fences? Because I've seen that through communities over time. Is that something that we could do, work on policy to help curb this problem?
But I think we need to understand the problem in a little bit greater detail. My understanding is the fences are going to be on the property line. So they're really going to essentially touch one another. The fence on the new development is going to have a chain link fence with concrete columns on the property line, and it's going to have a ficus hedge on it on the new side of the block. So you're going to have a hedge, a fence, and then often another fence, and then often landscaping there. So I'm not quite sure exactly what's going to grow in between the hedge, the fence, and the hedge. Probably not a whole lot that needs to be maintained. I need to look at that to get you a better answer than what I just gave you, though.
But that's the problem. We know that something is going to grow there. And again, I've seen it through communities. We've seen it in the past. It's nothing new. Just the question is, I think we need to really look at this. And then at the same time, I think that's what they're looking for right now.
Yeah, let me look into what's done in other places about this similar situation and come up with some.
They're building right now. They're going to run into that issue right now. So that's it.
Mr. Burgess? On the property owners that are there now, they've got a mixed fence. Some of them are chain and some of them are wood, or is it all wood the entire length?
No, what's happened is that I believe the base development built a chain link fence as what they got approved in their site plan. I believe that there was a choice between some homeowners to put a privacy fence up. So a wooden fence, that abuts the existing chain link fence. So if they have a pool in the backyard or something that you couldn't see through it. So that condition happens sporadically, certainly not all the time. There is a chain link fence that is consistent the whole width of the property.
It's there already?
It's there already. It was built when the development to the south, the older development, had come in. And so that's very similar to what this development is providing just the basic chain link barrier fence there as a border on the property.
Like over in my neighborhood, we went through the same thing. And when Carib Homes came in, they allowed us, the homeowners that were there that had a fence already, to tie into their new fence that they wanted to put up because not everybody had one. And they put a chain link fence along that went right down the property line, and they allowed us to tie into it. And the gentleman, Mr. Deca, that's going to do the plot just to the north of Eastlake has proffered that same ability to the people that are there, the neighbors that are there now. Why is it something like that can't get worked out between these two parties?
This is different in the sense that the Palm Ridge Gardens development where we talked about with the slope is that there's a utility easement there. And that easement provides a width of, I think it's multiple feet. You can drive a car through it so that you can get to the back of both properties where nothing.
Right, if there's already a chain link fence that goes the entire length, and some people put wood to their side of the fence, correct? Why can they not create a good faith, good neighborly thing where D.R. Horton ties in, their neighbors tie into that same fence along that property line instead of creating a problem like this?
There's no reason why we have to have the second fence. You could just use the existing fence, provided it's on the property.
I don't understand why the two parties can't talk to one another and come to some sort of terms as to where the fence is at, instead of, building two fences, which is a big expense for everybody. Going to be more headaches along the fence that already exists, of getting torn up at some point and all that. So I don't know. I think there's an opportunity for both parties to work together and leave one fence there, which would be a lot more minimal damage, collateral damage to yards and fences that exist.
You're right. When we went out to the site and met the other day, that was one of the things we were going to do. We're going to get a meeting with the Development Services, is going to facilitate a meeting with the constructor and see if we can't work those types of issues out. So that's one of the things that we're going to be talking about. We have some time because the development is 18 months.
Have you all met together? You guys have sat down together, D.R. Horton, with the neighborhood like we had requested at the last meeting?
No? We have emailed and
all right, emails don't work. I'd like to see some face-to-face meeting going on out there and get this resolved.
And we're happy. My Messino from D.R. Horton is telling me that they have no issue with not putting up a fence too. We're with you. We have no desire.
Can we please have an in-person meeting? Is much more beneficial, I think, to both parties than shooting emails back and forth and on site where maybe there's an engineer that explains to them exactly how your fences or their fences would tie in together, or what the possibilities are, and see if you guys can come to some terms there, rather than building another whole fence with all the damage that goes. I mean, that's just my take on it, but we had asked you guys to have meetings, I know that, and I'm a little disappointed they haven't taken place face to face. So,
We're
thank you.
perfectly amenable to do.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Burgess. This is a public hearing, so you're welcome to come forward. And
Just one more thing, we have been trying to get site plans and we have been corresponding, and we just seem to hit roadblocks and don't get anywhere. We get passed on to the next person. But now, since we're here today, it seems like we got the right people to speak to, and we'll be able to meet with them and hopefully move
Who's
forward.
passing you on to the other person?
You'll call DR Horton and they'll ask you to email. I email, I have a response that doesn't really respond to what I've asked. 2 weeks later, the community president, the association president reaches out. They don't get the answers. So this is just where we feel like this is the last resort to come here today. We propose that we put a masonry wall between instead of a fence, a chain link fence. We have no answer. We're just trying to get all of this resolved so that they can build the community and everything can be in harmony and actually developed.
Okay, Ms. Kirkloff, you had a question.
Yeah, I have a very simple question. Were we not clear at the last meeting that we wanted these two parties to communicate? It's ridiculous that this is playing out in here. This should be playing out in a closed-door meeting with the two parties. So I would hope moving forward from this meeting, you have those conversations. Because it doesn't make sense for these residents to keep coming here saying the same thing, and we've communicated to you, the developers, to have a conversation with the community. And I would hope that moving forward, that would happen.
Thank you, ma'am. Let me ask a question. Let this lady speak. I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am. Please come forward.
Good evening, everybody.
Pull that top mic down.
Okay.
There you go.
My name is Kenny Abello. We are the surveyors working on the plats. And I thought this meeting was only about the final plat to get approved. And this is why I am here. I know there's been issues with the construction and everything, but tonight we're talking about the approval of the plat as well. So I hope it doesn't interfere with that. Thank you.
Yeah, if I may, just to clarify, and I was here the last time with the gentleman in the green University of Miami shirt. Oh, okay, well, and I pledge, and to Councilwoman Fairclough, I mean, I gave my business card that day. I know Ms. Messino did that day. I mean, we weren't contacted. I have no doubt that Mr. Garcia emailed someone. DR Horton's a large company. So, no apologies. It shouldn't have happened, but, certainly the two of us were here last time. We did hear. We gave all our information. We responded to questions that staff, that Mr. Anisi, the building official, asked of us. Those questions were coming from Waterstone, and we responded to those questions a couple of weeks back. So, I hope no one takes it that we don't have an interest in meeting. The moment that I get called, asked to meet about something, we will be happy to do so. We had responded to questions. We assumed that in responding to a series of questions in a detailed fashion in an email that staff has, that staff has had for a couple of weeks, that obviously that had resolved or calmed any concerns or fears that there were. Obviously, folks have shown up today to discuss, and we'll continue to talk with them, but I can certainly tell you that I myself, nor Messino, both of us were the ones here last time, have been contacted or have ignored a single call or email or anything like that. I would hope that they would recognize that, that none of them can say, well, we called the folks that were here. So I apologize if they called a general number or someone that just didn't know how to patch it over to Messino, who's handling this project. But, again, we're here. They have my business card. We will meet with them. Just tell us. And I've got a different project where I'm going to be in a different homeowners community tomorrow night, because at a hearing, we set that up. And so we are perfectly happy to do that. And those of you that know me and have seen me working for a while down here know that, I'm down here quite a bit, and we're happy to meet with them. So we hope that, we can just resolve those issues as part of the construction process.
Joe, question. The timing on this final approval, what if we deferred it for 30 days? Is there any They haven't seemed to be able to get together over the last 30 days, plus or minus. Give me some guidance, because there's clearly, somebody's feet have got to be held to the fire on this issue, because, we're struggling to protect the surrounding communities, and there's been plenty of opportunity for discussion, and there seems to be there's a willingness, but it's not being done. So give me some options.
Well, this is a plat, and so it doesn't matter, you could delay this for another month. The construction's ongoing, the site plan's approved, and it's going to continue regardless of whether you delay this plat or not. The issue is that we've been contacted, we've relayed the site plan over, we've walked the site with the neighbors, we've determined that we need to facilitate a meeting between ourselves as the Development Services Department and the constructor to address the concerns of the neighbors, and facilitate a meeting between the constructor and the neighbors. We'll bring them all in so they have our attention. The meetings are we're in the process of doing it. It's not something that needs to be spurred right now. We're in the process. So the process has started. We've had the questions answered by the constructor. We've answered the questions ourselves. We are in the process.
Okay, but the level of frustration from the council, you can hear it, that we thought that this was, being done, and the residents in the adjacent neighborhood are saying differently. So we want to protect the new neighbors. We want to protect the neighbors that are existing. So we'll finish off the public hearing, but the timing wise, there's no urgency?
There's no urgency to this at all.
Yes, sir, please.
Good evening, my name's Greg Bellamy. I'm the president of Grove at Waterstone HOA. I was at that last meeting, and I understood your concerns, that you expressed them, and I understood them at that meeting. It's been difficult in terms of getting everybody together to sit down and talk about this project. And at this point, we were a little desperate to Grove at Waterstone because we have our attorneys here.
Mm-hmm.
We would not have our attorneys here if we didn't think this was like a last-ditch effort to have our side of the story told. And basically, Mr. Corradino was present, but this is Monday, Monday before the meeting on Wednesday. There was a notice placed in a few of the mailboxes about this hearing, and I don't understand how they were chosen and not everybody was chosen. I didn't get one. I had a resident run up to me saying, what is this? They don't understand what these notices mean. And I don't understand myself why we can't sit down with the developer and the city, if necessary, and work this thing out. We're back before you again, at least I am. Maybe we can move from here. Maybe we can. But I'm glad to see that you guys are aware. We're kind of concerned that there doesn't seem to be any rules for how these guys manage the construction site. Our attorney said that the equipment is parked up against, the fence line of people's houses. So when they look out the window, they go outside, there's a earth mover or a piece of equipment sitting out, like right outside their fence. It's a 100-acre site. Can't you?
100 homes.
100 homes. 17 acres? Well, use some of the other acres to pile your construction junk and put your cars and trucks, get them away from the existing people. Just have a little respect for the people who are there already. That's all we want.
Okay.
We're there already. We know that the development is going to be built, but have a little respect for the existing homeowners. Move your stuff on the other side of the 17 acres. That's it for me.
I think you're coming through loud and clear. Ms. Waldman?
Yes, so basically what it boils down to is that it's just kind of bad manners. It's just not being good neighbors by parking the stuff in backyards and just.
I had a homeowner tell me, now I didn't see this, I hate hearsay, but that the guy parked his car, facing her window. His car is back of her house, looking in the back of her house.
Yeah. Well,
There's enough room there, believe me, there's enough room.
I agree. And because of that, I think we can all work together. I think everybody, I don't know where the disconnect came from, but I'd like to move that we have a 30-day deferral, Mayor. Can I do that?
I've got Mr. Maldonado, and then, let's close the public hearing, and then bring it back, but you've got a motion for 30 days.
I'd like to make a motion for giving you a chance just to get together, because I mean, I know what it's like when people run a job. They hire subs, they hire people, and sometimes they just need to be schooled in good manners and to be respectful of one another. And certainly you have not been respected in your homes and how the construction process has gone thus far. But Horton is a very good neighbor of the city, and they've done. I'm a realtor, I know your work. You do really nice projects, and so I just think it's unfortunately a terrible disconnect, and I'm just hoping that you can get together, and because we're not going to move forward, I don't think, just from hearing my colleagues, until there is a solution, until you have talked, and I certainly wouldn't like it if somebody parked their big machine behind my house, and I had to, and besides that, it's a safety hazard. So I certainly understand. But I have a motion on the floor, and
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is seconded. Okay, to defer for 30 days or to the next council meeting? Next council meeting? Next council meeting, okay. Any final comments from the public? I'm going to close the public hearing, and we're going to do a vote here. You're public. You're the applicant.
Absolutely. That's fine. The only clarification I was going to ask is if instead of doing 30 days, calendar days, we could just simply do it to the next meeting, which is, I believe, November 19th. And we will, again, I'm going to hand my business cards. I will follow up with them if they have cards. And I believe that when Mr. Garcia gave his address, I think he said 701 Brickell. I think we're 10 floors apart in the same building on Brickell. So at a very minimum, I can assure you the attorneys for the association and I are going to be parking in the same garage and going to the same building for the next 28 days. So I will make sure we meet and we come back to you with a solution and compromise.
Okay, close the public hearing. Final comments. There is a motion and a second. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Fairclough?
Yes.
Councilwoman Woolman?
Yes.
Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
Mayor Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Good. Good work, Hugo.
Thank you all. See you soon.
Resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving a special exception requested by Joe's Junkyard, Inc. to permit a recycling and transfer facility on approximately 39,414 square feet area of a 3.55 acre parcel located at 151 Southwest 12th Avenue. It's legally described in Exhibit A and providing an effective date.
Mr. Cordino.
Yes, sir. We recommend that the mayor and council approve this resolution approving the special exception for the recycling transfer facility. We heard this originally back in December of 2012. We, at the time, deferred the item pending the applicant go back to the site, do some cleanup, and do a couple of things. They went back. They had some issues, had come back to us, I believe, over the past summer. They proffered a landscape plan. They've done significant cleaning to the site. So they're back before us to talk about what they want to do, and we would recommend approval at this time.
Questions from council? Initial questions? Okay, I'll open up the public hearing, and the applicant is here. Thank you, sir. Name and
Morgan
address.
Cronin, on behalf of Joe's Junkyard, who I believe I have cured my defect in my registration as a lobbyist. I neglected to pay the fee this year. Well, I was here at the previous hearing, and what Mr. Cordino says is absolutely correct. We have met with him several times and presented what was the last objection, or at least the last request, which was a landscaping plan for the east and south sides, which abut a park and some residential areas. So we have proffered one plan, which was not quite what they wanted. We revised it, put in some more native and appropriate plants, and I believe they're happy with that now. My client, Johnny Filipovic over there, has complied with all of the Durham requirements because he has two applications pending simultaneously. The cities obviously is one, but the Durham requirements are very stringent. We've done a great deal of improvements, including attaching to the sewers, and I believe they've now implemented a request for some filtration of runoff water, which has never been required before, but we're perfectly happy to comply with all of Durham's requirements. Their only hurdle at this point, or their only obstacle at this point to that approval is the zoning, and they've indicated to us that upon approval by the city, that they'll be happy to go forward with their approval of the site also. One good reason I can offer you is that the junkyard, the scrap metal recycling site that they are on now, which is right across the street, it's an adjacent property, is very compact. It's small. It's a facility that's been there for many, many years. And the new facility will offer them more room, which will make it safer, more efficient, cleaner, and to give them an opportunity to handle the additional volume that they've been experiencing. And make it easier for them to comply with the city codes, which have height restrictions for the amount of material, so it wouldn't be visible over the wall, which is difficult for them to do on the compressed site that they're in now.
Okay. Mr. Burgess.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Cordino, you said that you're happy with what they've brought forward as a plan now. How do we ensure that what they put in there is going to stay? I mean, this is a very heavy use area, I guess is what you would call it. How do we ensure that these plants, trees, those type of things are going to stay looking fresh and growing and doing that? How does the city ensure that what we've asked them to put there is going to continue to grow and keep the area looking respectful?
Well, in our original resolution, we required that they consistently maintain those as the way they put them in. After that, it's a code enforcement issue. We just need to be out there on a regular basis to make sure that if somebody with a dump truck knocks down a tree, that we cite them and get it replaced. And that's going to take some diligence on our part, but that's the way we would live up to the rules that we make through this resolution.
We know what kind of process that becomes in, and, it becomes a burden on the city more than anything if that's where it goes, as a 6-8 month process draws out with code enforcement. So I guess I'm looking at the applicant's representative and say, what's to ensure me and my fellow colleagues and the neighbors around there that what they're going to put in, they're going to maintain and keep at a good standard? Because some of those areas, and I'm not saying their area over there, but some of those areas are heavy use with a lot of, not indigenous or not good for the plant growth, the tree growth, or that type of stuff that we're trying to put over there. And I'm sure that they're not going to put in any sprinkler systems to maintain it. So what's going to ensure that this is going to live and we're not just going to end up with 4 or 5 dead branches up in the air?
Well, in addition to what Mr. Cordino said about it being a code enforcement issue, in addition to that, and I'm not a landscaper other than on my own property, but the plan does call for native trees, which are much more tolerant of lower intensity watering and fertilizing, that sort of thing. I'm not sure exactly what the terminology would be, but they're mahogany trees, I think, and native trees that wouldn't necessarily require a great deal of maintenance. And of course, they're trees. These are not like low brush things. There's some full-size trees that are periodically placed in there. So I think the visibility of those trees, if there's any problem with them, is going to be very apparent. There's going to be no problem at all with the city seeing that tree is dying or that tree got knocked over. These are, substantial trees for the purpose of creating a buffer between the park on the east side and the residences on the south side. It's a substantial growth that they're planning to put in there. And my client would agree to, whatever, other conditions of maintenance would be. I don't know exactly what that would require, but and if the city had asked for something like that, we would put it in. But I think that the plan it's very it's attractive and it's adequate for what they've asked. We actually had submitted a plan previously, as I said, that was not did not include these substantially larger and native, more tolerant trees.
Ms. Waldman?
Yes. Back in 2012, December 12th, 2012, I stated, according to the minutes, Councilwoman Waldman stated in the 1990s she owned a salvage yard on Maui and she understood how difficult it was to keep the property looking aesthetically pleasing. She stated there were several properties in the Maui area that needed to be cleaned up. You remember this conversation?
It was a while ago, but I do recall
She
that, yes.
required, she inquired how the city would hold the applicant to the commitment to landscape and make other improvements. Joe Cordino recommended adding a condition of approval that the applicant landscape around the perimeter of the facility so that it would be part of the developmental order. And Joe, you've done that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So, I understand Mr. Burgess's concerns, but if there comes a time when we have to trust that you're going to do what you say you're going to do, and that you're going to maintain what you say you're going to maintain. So, because it's gone so long, and, it's been several years now, and with the recommendation of the developmental services, I'm going to go ahead and vote in favor of this tonight, because you have a responsibility. You know that area should be speaking to the owner, but you know that the area. I know. You know the area. It's always a concern of ours to keep it up. I know when I owned the property on Maui, it was a nightmare trying to keep it clean and trying to keep everything up and according to Durham and according to the police and the vehicles that were coming and going and the salvage trucks in and out. So I understand, but there just comes a time when we put you through the meetings and the requirements and the conditions that I know that Joe Cordino puts on you, then there comes a time I have to trust you.
Appreciate that.
Let me ask a question, Joe, if I could. It's a compact site, and I know in some of the other areas where I have a compact site, there's a lot of staging in the roadways, and, and you take, for example, the tow company that's, over south of the police station, we had them put up a wall, and they put up landscaping, and then they just park everything outside the wall. That's got to stop. I know, Chief, I know that's a code enforcement issue, and I know that but, as long, we're trying to keep everything contained inside the four walls, and so, as far as staging the trucks to do whatever, that should happen inside the four walls as well. I support the effort, but, I think there needs to be some clarity on, you may be doing the work inside the four walls, but you can't have everything parked outside, waiting to get inside the four walls, because that seems to be a huge problem for us, and not just one or two areas, but, the public road is a public road.
I could comment to that.
Yes, sir.
The new facility actually has much different ingress and egress setup than the old site. The old site, it was one way in, and they had to be weighed, turn around, and come back out the same way. This new site has already in place a circular, it's not exactly circular, but it's an entrance which goes up onto a scale, and then there's a turn and come around a separate exit. So it would accommodate a great deal more flexibility as far as getting, and speed and efficiency of getting vehicles in and out.
Right.
It's also much more area in which to bring in the larger trucks, which have to be loaded, and so they've got more room to move around.
That's
Accommodate what
fine.
you're talking about.
That's fine. I think my point to staff is basically, we want that activity inside. I think that's been a consistent statement from the council, and there's some other, not Joe, but some other entities that take the public right-of-way as a staging area, unloading, a loading area, and that's inappropriate. So as long as it's inside the four walls, for me, I'm okay. So any final comments from council? It is a public hearing. If you want to speak for or against this issue, you're welcome to come at this time. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Any final questions, comments from council? Is there a motion?
Move it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Final comments? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Fairclough?
Yes.
Councilwoman Woolman?
Yes.
Councilman Burgess? Yes. Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
Mayor Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Tab 21. Mr. Burgess, do you want that one, or do you want staff to have it?
Let me read it first.
No.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. Now you've insulted me. Okay. Ordinance, I get to do very little at these
didn't push
meetings,
your
so this
button.
is all I get
You
to
didn't
do.
push your
I gotta-
button.
Okay. An ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending Chapter 4 Animals, Article 3 Dogs and Cats of the City Code by creating Division 4 Retail Sale Restrictions to provide regulations concerning the retail sale of dogs and cats within the city, providing for prohibitions, exemptions, severability, inclusion in the code, conflicts, and an effective date. This is the first reading.
Mr. Burgess.
It's the second reading.
It is second reading. Elizabeth? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it went out initially on the first print as
You're
first,
correct.
but it is a
You're
second
correct.
reading.
It's the second reading and public hearing.
Thank you. So this is our final reading on this ordinance, Mayor, if I may.
Please, go right ahead, sir.
And I'd like to thank my colleagues up here tonight for supporting this. I'd like to thank the staff for bringing this to us quickly as time was kind of important, as we want to make sure we close our door where people don't get down here and start a business as other places are following in suit with us too. So thank you to them. All this does is prohibit from puppy mills or cat mills coming down here. It still lets the big chain stores or anybody work with the dog rescue type organizations here in town to provide the great services that they do already. So thank you to everybody. I've not heard one negative comment about this, so I feel like we're doing the right thing for the community, and thank you.
Questions from council? Okay, this is a public hearing. Anyone can't be against this, but they could be, I guess. For or against? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Final comments? Is there a motion?
Move it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. You got that, Madam Clerk?
Councilwoman Woolman?
Yes.
Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fairclough?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
Mayor Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
So we're to the business from the city manager?
Nothing from the city manager.
You said you didn't want to say anything
I
tonight.
have something about the city manager.
Well, it's her birthday.
It's her birthday.
It's her birthday.
Let's sing
Happy birthday.
birthday.
No singing.
Let's sing.
No singing.
How do I turn this off?
Press it really hard.
You did a great job today.
Good job.
Well, happy birthday, Kate.
Thank you.
And sorry you had to work on your night off, but should be your night off, but the manager, he outranked you. Mr. Attorney?
Nothing, except I'd like to have a council meeting on my birthday too, if we could.
We'll do that. We'll do that.
Ask that guy who was there, he'll tell you what day it was.
Council reports, Ms. Wallman?
Yeah, it's my birthday this month, too.
Yes, it is.
Just thought I'd throw that in. Yes, I have quite a bit of stuff, so I'm going to go very, very fast. The city's free Halloween event is on Saturday, October 25th, which I can tell this is the busy time of the year starting, because it seems like everything is happening on the same days, and that's why I encourage somebody to do a community calendar so that we can start, being a little more respectful of each other's organizations. And years ago, the Main Street organization used to do a community calendar, and then the chamber, and then it just seems like it hasn't happened. So, again, I brought it up several times. I'd like to maybe meet with Begonia. Maybe we could have a talk about that, but we've got to do something. But let me go on. This event's going to be at the at the Pavilion. It's 6:30 to 9:30. It's a fabulous event. We have over 1,000 people every year, and for council members, at 8 o'clock, we'll be announcing the costume winners, and that's when we'll be on stage doing that. So I invite you all to come out and be a part of it. The organization MUHER, which is Men and Women United in Justice, Education, and Reform, is hosting a luncheon next Tuesday, October 28th at 11:30 a.m. I am the keynote speaker. It's $30 a person, or a table of 10 for $300. You're going to hear things that are just amazing, and survivors that have gone through so much. I encourage all of you to come, men and women. I'm also very happy to announce that it's confirmed, it's final. Homestead Hospital is now totally equipped with 19 trained nurses to assist in rape cases. And we're the only hospital south of Jackson that has this. It took about a year to get this going. The hospital paid for these nurses to be trained. I mean, and it cost a fortune. The doctors are trained in the ER, and we now can do forensic, evidence for the police department. We have all been working together with SOS, Maher, the police department. Chief, thank you so much for all that you've done to contribute to the knowledge that we need and the compassion that your officers show. Our community is no different from any other community. So the number that I'm going to give you it's going to sound like a lot, but we've had 6 rapes in 6 weeks. It's not necessarily within the Homestead city limits, but right outside. There's a lot of things that go on. These women, men, children, grandmothers, it doesn't matter what your gender, what your nationality is, you're all subject to be a target, and we have to do everything we can. But our first step was getting a hospital and getting our hospital to say yes, and I'm very proud of that. It's something that I will always be grateful and hold dear to my heart, that the hospital accepted this challenge. We even have a special exam room set aside for privacy and dignity, and we have psychologists working. I mean, it's just amazing. So I encourage you all to come out and hear about it. And please, if you know someone that's going through anything like that, to please call the hotline. We'll publish the hotline number on the city website. I'll provide it to each one of the council members too, because I know you get phone calls from people that sometimes you just need to know right away who to refer them to. So, on November 10th, I'm holding my annual Veterans Day service at the Palms Woodland Cemetery. Following a short service at 4 o'clock, we place flags on every gravesite that has a military marking or that we know is military. It's a beautiful sight to see all the flags waving on Veterans Day morning when people go out to visit the gravesites, and we remove the flags the day after. But this year I have the VFW, the American Legion, I have the Boy Scouts, I have a bunch of organizations that are helping. I encourage you to come out. It's at 4 o'clock. Just wear tennis shoes, jeans. It's just to do something for the people that they gave their lives for our freedom. The annual championship pineapple taste is going to be November 13th at the Speedway. That's going to kick off the races on Thursday night, the taste, and then the races will start on Friday. So this is a big deal. I'm a charter member of the Pineapple Gala and been working on it all these years, and we've changed it now to where it's called the Taste, where we have restaurants from all over Dade County that come, and South Beach. I mean, it's going to be fantastic. So I encourage you to come. Call me for information on tickets. Judy's Closet, today alone we assisted 9 clients from victims of domestic violence. So if you have gently used clothing that you'd like to donate, please know that we're set up at the FOP now. We're still in partnership with Maria Garza and the Mexican American Council. We use the closet all the time, and I don't talk about it enough because we're now needing donations because we service so many people. I'd like to remind everybody that the save the date for the community holiday party is December 11th from 6:30 to 9 p.m. We're working very hard on that. The Palace is, again, our sponsor, and we are so excited to offer everybody a kickoff of the holiday season. But to me, the most important time is November 4th, and that's Election Day, and I encourage everybody to early vote. If you've already, signed up for absentee voting, do so. But early vote, come out and vote. And I don't often do this, but I'm going to ask you please to vote yes for Amendment 1 It protects our water, it protects our green space, and it also provides funding for our trails and parkways. And I know Vice Mayor Shelley is also on board with Amendment 1, and I ask you to consider voting yes for that because it will certainly help our community. So thank you, Mayor, and happy Halloween, everybody.
Thank you, Ms. Waldman. Mr. Burgess.
Thank you, Mayor. First, let me say, I got my fan club here. My mother's here watching my first meeting in 7 years, so welcome to her. My wife and son are back there, too, so I put them through the agony of sitting through one of these with me tonight. But anyway, I've had a discussion with our city attorney, and the mayor and I have been out crisscrossing the state trying to figure out a way to do something about the racetrack taxes. And the proposal that I've made to him and asked him to look into is that we just don't pay them. And that would put us on the same playing field as the city of Miami with their parking garages down there with the Marlins. So I've asked him to look into why do we continue to pay it? Make the county come to us. Let's get them to the table and sit them down and have them go through. And one of the things that the attorney has spoke about tonight is that we think we're being overtaxed out there also, and what they're basing everything on. And the mayor has reached out, that we met some people from the city of Orlando, and I think there's an opportunity for us to find some public uses out there like they have with their arenas. But I think as we have a new tax assessor come in, I think it's time for us to take a stance as a city and take a strong stance. And I would hope that I could get the support of the council as we can maybe ask the attorneys to look at that and come back with some sort of report as to what the repercussions would be to the city if we were to say we're not going to pay it, and make them come to us. So I don't know, that's an idea that I've had and that I've had discussions with our attorney about, and I know that they've talked a little bit about it in-house. But I think at some point we've got to draw a line in the sand and say, that's it, we're done. And I think this might be a way to get the doors opened even further. We've made great strides. The mayor and I, unfortunately, we went up and presented at the League of Cities to their advocacy board for taxation and things, and they took 5 things forward, and they carry 2 forward every year, and we came in 3rd place. We've got the door open. There's people there that are paying attention to our problems because it's becoming a bigger problem throughout the entire state for various uses that cities have. So, but I think at some point, Mayor and other council members, we've just got to say the heck with it. We're done. We're not going to pay. It's not fair that we pay, and we're not gonna. And I think that gets them to the table for us, and perhaps we can make some kind of negotiations and at least make some strides in the hallway down towards where we need to be. So perhaps you can think about it, or if you want to have a quick discussion on it tonight, we can do that, whatever.
Does anybody have any questions? Because I think we've all been struggling to find a way to be, when Mr. Burgess and I were talking, we said, look, just treat us like you treat the Marlins parking garage. You don't tax them. So I think it's a great concept.
Yeah, I think that from our point of view, the fact that I get calls from each of you at least 2-3 times a week on this pushes us to be more creative, and that helps us sometimes. And so Councilman Burgess had an idea, and then Mayor Porter had a different idea, and so I think that it would be a good idea for us to go through a chronology with you of what would happen if we didn't pay the taxes. And a couple of other things that we've been thinking about. And so if it's all right with you, I'll do that at the COW or at the next meeting as soon as it's done. But I appreciate the phone calls and the pushing. Not that I'm not very concerned about it myself, especially as the bonds mature. So we'll bring you back a report.
Thank you very much. Anna, any information on the light at Pacific and 152? I saw another wreck there this morning. I know that the county has finally followed through and made the 2 left-hand turn lanes that they promised us 6 months ago at 137 and 312, but I'm just trying to see where we stand on that. I know that they had trouble, and this, Ms. Faircloth, you might be able to help if they haven't resolved it. They were trying to find out who the head of the CDD was over there, because they might need to get some right-of-way.
They found out already. They are sending the documents. We should be getting them this week, so we're
keeping up with them to make sure that everything gets processed, and hopefully it can be, I think it needs, after their board approval, it needs council approval. If it does, we'll bring it to as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you very much. Just to reiterate, Yappy Hours this Friday at 6:30 at the Banyan Tree. It benefits, This Is the Dog, and it's going to be at Keysgate. Bring your dog dressed up as a superhero or yourself as a superhero. And with that, I say thank you for listening to me and a good meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burgess. Mr. Maldonado? Nothing? Ms. Faircloth?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'm excited to be partnering with the Big Cheese. We will be hosting a day of giving and serving on Thanksgiving Day. We will be serving Thanksgiving meals to members, men and women throughout the community from noon until 2 p.m. There will be a live band, food, fun, and fellowship. We are welcoming any volunteers that would like to assist us with serving the families on Thanksgiving Day. So if you're interested, please email me at pfairclough, Fairclough, @cityofhomestead.com, or call me at 786-205-3410 for those volunteer opportunities on Thanksgiving Day. In addition to that, on December 6th, from 12 to 6, the Mayor's Youth Council, supported by the mayor and this council, will be hosting our second annual chili cook-off and carnival. Local schools will enter an international-inspired chili to win up to $1,000 to support their school's PTA. Shout out to all of those schools that have registered already to take part in this event. If you are a vendor and you would like to participate in that, email me as well. And if your child attends one of our local schools, reach out to that principal to make sure that they have registered for the chili cook-off. Due to the overwhelming support for the chili cook-off, we're opening up a category for nonprofits that caters to kids. If you would like to compete in the chili cook-off, we've carved out an opportunity for you to participate in that as well. So please email me or call me for more information regarding the chili cook-off or the Thanksgiving Day of Serving. And finally, Keysgate Charter Schools hosting their Harvest Festival on this Saturday. If your schedule permits, if the weather permits you to attend on this Saturday, I invite you to support Keysgate with their Harvest Festival. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Fairclough. Vice Mayor?
Nothing at this time.
Nothing? Just a couple things. I had the opportunity to be invited by Dr. Feldman from the school board, vice chair of the school board, to do kind of a surprise tour of some of the public schools in the Homestead area. And I've got to say that I was really kind of blown away with the improvements that that the public education community has done in Homestead. If you don't know, you should try to find out, because we're going to have a program for every child. We have the charter schools that are in place that all are doing a fine job. And I'll be honest with you, I think the charter schools coming in made the public school system compete. And so, not to be disrespectful to the charter school system, but I'm impressed with what the public school system has done and the programs that are now available to our community. No longer do you have to leave Homestead to get a decent education. And I want to also piggyback on something that I had the opportunity to sit in on a roundtable that Ms. Fairclough put together, the principals roundtable through the education committee, and to see the excitement and on these principals' faces and being able to tell their story of the progress that they've made gets to the point where sometimes it almost brings tears to your eyes. And they've been beaten up, and in some cases rightfully so. But I think at the end of the day, I think we should take a look at what they're doing. And I want to congratulate you, Ms. Fairclough, on the progress and the things that you're doing with the Education Committee and the synergy that is being created here. So keep up the good work. We've got to tell this story, because for so many years we've had people look at our community and go other places, and it was simply because of the poor quality of education that we had in our community. And I think that day's over. And so from, we deal with our military men and women, they come into this community or they're being transferred in, but they don't want to live in Homestead. But those days are over. Those days are over. Dr. Feldman needs help to promote this. I just think that we should do as much as we can, and Ms. Fairclough, we're going to leverage your community, your committee with the education, and I think we get the realtors involved so that they can understand it. Anybody that'll talk to us or listen to us, I think it's much like Mr. Burgess and I have been with the racetrack. Anybody that'll listen will stand there and talk, and it plays out to be effective. So I want to give you kudos for that roundtable, and I want to give kudos to the public school system for what they're doing. You probably don't know, but Homestead High is a C school now. It's not an F school. And is it B now? Okay, it's moving so fast I can't even keep up. But you wouldn't know that, because we all think of Homestead High School and the problems that they've had over the years. And to go from an F, a total failure, to a B, D to a B is an amazing turnabout. So again, I just think that that's an amazing thing that we need to preach about to our community and the people that are looking at our community. I have a couple of committees that we need to make appointments. One is the Art in Public Places. Is there a second? It's moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Also, we have an open seat at the Homestead Housing Authority Board. I'm going to ask Ms. Martha Torres to take that position. Is there a motion?
Second.
Moved and second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Those two items carry. I really don't have anything else at this particular time. I'll accept the motion to adjourn. Is there a second? All in favor? Good night, everyone. Thank you.